G'day there, and welcome to r/Am I the Arsehole? Hope you enjoy the stories. Am I the arsehole for making a harmless joke about my daughter's acne? This happened a few days ago. I, 43 male, have a daughter, 16 female, that is obviously going through puberty. And just like any other teen, she is seeing a lot of changes in her body. Most recently, acne in her face and arms. I try to be supportive of her, and I have bought her special soaps and creams to help her control it, although I haven't seen much difference, or I don't think they really help that much. Anyways, the other day at the dining table, she was complaining to her mother and I about how the soaps I've bought her haven't been working on her, and that she feels very uncomfortable. So she asked if we could take her to the dermatologist to help her with her acne. I then told her that she should just befriend the pimples, since nothing she has been doing has helped, and that they just wanted to be a part of her. All in a very sarcastic tone. I thought my daughter and wife would take it as it is. Humor. But they both got really mad at me. My daughter stormed to her bedroom, and my wife started scolding me, telling me I was a bad father, while also telling me to apologize to her since those comments can really affect her. I told them that I was just joking and that they should stop being party poopers and killing the mood. My daughter hasn't talked to me since that day, and my wife thinks I'm a huge asshole for what I did and only talks to me to tell me to apologize. So am I the asshole for making a harmless joke? And now in the comments, you're the asshole. Seriously, puberty is hard enough without some insensitive ass joking about your acne. Don't do that. Poor kid. Puberty is rough as is without having your father making awful jokes like this. You're the asshole. My dad used to make fun of my acne when I was a teenager, saying things like, "Look at that beard," when I had a lot of pimples on my chin. He thought that it was hilarious. I'm 30 now, and we are not close. OP, take note. Don't make fun of your kid's appearance if you want to have any meaningful part of their life. Yeah, of course you're the asshole. She's insecure and having trouble with her appearance, and what do? Decide that a joke would be appropriate? She's clearly sensitive about the acne and asking for help, so why poke fun at that? How insensitive of you. This is why children have trouble coming to their parents with their insecurities, because they joke about them and treat the insecurity as less than. It's really sad that you're wondering if you should apologize or not. If someone's feelings get hurt, there's nothing harmless about the joke. Wait, so it's not normal to have parents make fun of your acne and other stuff? It's not really about normal and not normal, but a parent joking about their kids' insecurities can really set them up for having issues down the line. Something I've come to realize recently is that there's really two separate questions in issues like this: what you intended and what your impact was. You didn't intend to hurt your daughter. You intended to lighten the mood. Your impact, though, was different. You hurt her deeply. This is probably something that she's getting mocked for at school, and probably something she already hates about herself. Ultimately, it doesn't matter what your intent was. It matters what your impact was. When you find out you've hurt someone, you apologize. Now you know. Now you know that's not a joke to her. Having the impact of hurting someone without the intent doesn't mean you're a bad person or irredeemable. It means that once you know, now you have the chance to fix it. OP, you're the asshole, but you still have a chance to make this right. And PS, about your wife, maybe sit down with her. It sounds like she was reacting to more than just this comment. Is this a pattern that she was trying to highlight? Is something more going on? Listen. Really listen. Because if this is part of something bigger, if you're hurting the people you love most, your wife and your daughter, you have a decision to make. Are you going to get defensive and double down, or are you going to listen and learn? And edit 2, a lot of people have brought up that intent does matter. If someone's intent was to hurt you, that's much less forgivable than if they had good intentions. I think that's a really good point. As the person who has been hurt, knowing the intent can determine whether or not you can continue a relationship with the other person. However, I think that the intent versus impact paradigm is incredibly important when it comes to being the person who has hurt someone else. So often when we are told we've hurt someone, we double down on how we didn't mean to, as if we need to defend that we are still a good person somehow. It is so important to remember that your impact matters more. In fact, I would argue that if your intent really was good, then you prove it by changing your actions. Anything that stays, not an action, just an intention, ultimately matters far less than what you actually do with your life. And back up to the post, OP has an edit and says, "After reading all of the comments non-stop for about an hour, I want to apologize to anyone that felt offended because of my actions or because they remembered a sad time in their lives. I want to say that I will still apologize to my daughter and wife, and I'll try to be more supportive next time with my daughter since we are all different and not because I, a grown man who can withstand criticism, means that she can do it too. I will be more supportive of her, and I will for sure seek professional help to fix her problem. I can see not everyone appreciates my way of thinking, and I will also avoid making comments that might hurt my loved ones. Thank you, Reddit, for giving me that lecture I really needed, and I'm deeply sorry." Unexposed is titled, "Am I the asshole for sending my cousin the bill for my kid's birthday cake because her kid ruined it?" We recently threw my 5-year-old a birthday party. He hasn't had a real birthday party since he was 2 years old due to COVID, so this was the first one he'd actually remember. We wanted to make it special, so we invited all our closest friends, family members, and their kids. One of my cousins, a single mum, has a very unruly 6-year-old. He is loud, disobedient, and a nightmare in public. When it came time to blow out the candles and cut the birthday cake, he came and stood directly next to my son. I anticipated what was going to happen next and asked my husband to stand behind this kid in case he tried to pull anything. After we sang, this kid kept trying to blow out the candles. My husband kept blocking him and pulling him back, and we could tell the kid was getting frustrated. Eventually, my son blew out the candles, and the kid absolutely lost it. He threw a tantrum and slammed his entire arm into the cake, knocking it into the table. It was so awkward, everyone gasped and got quiet. My son looked up at us, and I could tell he was about to start crying. In an effort to not cause a bigger scene, my husband picked him up and whispered to him that we have another special cake just for him. We didn't, and he seemed to calm down. Meanwhile, his cousin was still standing there screaming and crying, his arm covered in cake. His mum was nowhere to be seen. I walked him over to the sink and washed him off and quietly told him that he shouldn't have done that to the cake and that he should apologize to his cousin for what he did. He screamed "No!" in my face and then ran away. My husband ended up running out to buy a sheet cake that we cut and served to everyone. I spoke to my cousin after the party about what happened since she wasn't in the room, and she brushed it off, saying kids will be kids. I completely disagree. I've been to plenty of birthday parties where the other kids let the birthday boy and girl have their moment. I suggested she paid for the ruined cake, and she looked at me like I was crazy. I told her how important it was to us that this birthday be special to my son, since it would be the first one he remembered, and now all he would remember was that his cousin ruined his special moment. She got extremely defensive and refused to pay for anything. She then accused me of acting like the perfect mum, and began to list the ways in which I was not, in fact, perfect. It was a hurtful conversation, and we haven't spoken since. I sent her the bill for the ruined cake, and she has not paid us. I actually feel she should pay for both cakes, since her kid is the reason that we had to get a new one, but I didn't go that far. My husband thinks she'll never pay us, and that I should drop the issue at this point. He says that since she's a single mom, it's probably hard on her, and we should cut them both some slack. I understand that, but I feel like it's just letting her and her son off the hook, and this will lead to even bigger problems in the future if we don't hold them accountable. Am I the asshole here? And now in the comments, not the asshole. But you'll never get your money, and I think you made the point. The kid is a jerk because the parent is a jerk. No longer invite them to any parties, and enjoy your immediate family because they seem nice. Not the asshole, but obviously she's not going to pay for the cake. Don't invite her to any more occasions or events, and just write her off. Her son is going to have massive problems in the future no matter what. It's not your responsibility, nor do you even have the ability to prevent that. Hounding her about paying for the cake isn't going to make any difference at all, except make both of you feel more anger and resentment. Believe me, when your son is older, he's going to remember, "Oh yeah, I remember asshole cousin Joe ruined my cake that year. I wonder if he's out of jail yet." Not the asshole. You're not getting that money, honey. Swallow that pill now. What I would suggest is moving on and going forward, excluding her and her child from things that you do that he may ruin. You are not wrong for wanting a special moment for your child. Everyone wants their birthday to be special, and I hope you don't feel any guilt over this. And while your husband is kind and well-intentioned, growing up with a single mother is no excuse for this behavior, and being a single mother is no excuse for not teaching your child how to behave. Our next post is titled, "Am I the asshole for bringing my entire family to the restaurant where my girlfriend was working as a server in order to meet her? I, 24 male, have been dating my girlfriend, 26 female, for several months. She works as a server at a local popular restaurant. My family has been for a few weeks now asking to meet her. I have 2 older sisters, who are 31 and 27, as well as 3 nieces and mother and father, who are both in their late 50s. My girlfriend doesn't have a good relationship with her own parents, and has expressed envy over me having a good relationship with mine. I've asked her a few times to come with me to meet my family, but she's always had an excuse why she couldn't. So anyway, last weekend, I brought my whole family, my parents as well as my sisters and their husbands and their kids, to her restaurant. I requested a table in her section. When she saw us, I could tell that she was taken aback, but she did her job well, and even took the time to talk to all of us and get to know my parents, sisters, brothers-in-law, and nieces as well as she could, while still doing her job and taking care of her other customers. Upon leaving, my entire family expressed that they really liked her, that I was lucky, and that they were glad to have met her. They also left her a huge tip. I thought the whole thing was fine. However, after she got off her shift, my girlfriend texted me and said, "Thanks a lot, you jackass." I called her and she went off on me about how I shouldn't have blindsided her by bringing my whole family, and how she should have had the chance to meet my family on her terms. I responded that she didn't seem to want to meet my family whenever I brought it up, so that if it were to ever happen, this was the way I'd figured out. But she said that what I did was wrong, and that she had to give my family special attention at the expense of her other tables, which I think wasn't true. Maybe I shouldn't have sprung my whole family on her in the way that I did, but it went well, and I'm kind of annoyed that she can't see that. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I guess I did sort of spring my entire family on my girlfriend in a way that she couldn't have backed out of without getting fired from her job. And now in the comments, you're the asshole. The update'll be that she dumped you and that you were surprised. She's right. You have blindsided her with something that she's having difficulty coping with. Instead of easing her into another possible meeting scenario, offering only meeting one of your sisters at a time for example, and respecting whatever decision she made, you show up with your whole family at her place of work. So not only are you ignoring her opinions, but you're also putting her on a tough time at work. Please update us that she broke up with you. Oh, you're the asshole for sure. How uncomfortable for her. Regardless that your family liked her and left a huge tip, yuck. I'd be so pissed at you if it was me. The fact that you don't see an issue is a huge issue. You should be very apologetic to her. You're the asshole. Am I the asshole for conspiring to force my girlfriend to interact with people that I knew she didn't want to interact with? Really? She clearly wasn't ready to meet them, and instead of you respecting that, you trampled all over it and brought them into her work, where she quite literally has no choice but to be as respectful and polite as possible, and forced an interaction on her. There is no maybe. You shouldn't have done that. You absolutely shouldn't have. Our next post is titled, "Am I the asshole for honestly telling my girlfriend what I would change about her?" So I watched a TikTok where a couple asked each other what they would change about each other, and they both said nothing. They are both perfect, and they love each other very much, etc. So I thought, let me try this with my girlfriend, without filming of course. She said, "I wouldn't change anything about you. Maybe I would make you less anxious about everyday stuff so you wouldn't suffer." And it's true. I tend to be very anxious and obsessive-compulsive sometimes, but I'm dealing with it. Then she asked me what I would change about her. I told her I would like her to have her old body back, meaning before the pandemic when she was more muscular and a little bit thinner. Also, I told her that she could be less hairy in some areas like her face and arms, and I wish her hair was more cared for. I wouldn't change anything fundamental about her appearance, maybe make her legs a little bit thinner, but all my requests are very much achievable with a little effort. She didn't seem to appreciate my comments. Her expression changed, and she locked herself in her room without saying anything. We slept on different beds, and the next day she told me something very hurtful. She said, "I don't think that your appearance is perfect either. There are some issues, but I love you enough not to pester you about them." When I asked her what she meant, she replied that she wished I followed her skincare advice to get rid of my acne and that I would work out with her more. I told her the difference was that I was honest and she lied. She didn't say anything, but it was obvious that she had been crying the whole night. She went up to her sister's house and hasn't been responding to my messages. So am I the asshole for being honest? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I might be the asshole because I made my girlfriend cry with my suggestions, although I never meant to hurt her. And now in the comments, you're the asshole. You saw an opportunity to confront your girlfriend about things you're not attracted to under the guise of, "Oh, look how fun and sweet." You tricked her and made her feel like crap. You're the asshole. You saw a trend on TikTok of two people accepting each other and decided to use it as a way to nitpick your girlfriend's appearance. You actually think your appearance is perfect? You don't deserve her, and I'm willing to bet she is way out of your league anyways. Negging is so toxic. Bunch of laughing, gasping for air, and laughing again. You're the asshole. And all of my requests are very much achievable with a little effort. Good God. Go date someone else who doesn't have to put in effort to change things about themselves for you. It is understandable to have a preference for a partner. It can be brought up in a much better way if that's what's important. In my opinion, this would be something affecting quality of life. If you're not attracted to her, don't be with her. You saw an opportunity to point out how you want her skinnier and hairless and jumped on it. Well done. And our next post is titled, "Am I the asshole for saying I told you so when my wife got banned from seeing our grandson?" So my wife has been in constant contact with our daughter-in-law, our son's wife, about plenty of things. Their very recent argument ensued after my wife kept insisting on being present in the delivery room despite getting a resounding no. My wife was having none of it. And after, my son and his wife changed hospitals to throw my wife off after she threatened to barge into the room. She eventually found out, I didn't tell her, and got very mad. I told her to stop and think, because if she keeps this up, she will lose all chances to see her grandbaby. She told me off and went to make a huge scene at the hospital that my daughter-in-law was at. It did not end well, and my wife came home crying hysterically after getting chewed out by our son and kicked out of the hospital. Things remained tense until my son called to invite me to see the baby for the first time. He did not invite my wife, which sent her into a mental breakdown. I had an argument with her after she tried to guilt me into staying with her and shame my son for keeping his mum away from her grandbaby. But I told her, I told you so, and said that she had plenty of opportunities to get right with our daughter-in-law, but she blew them away because of her stubbornness. She started yelling about how unsupportive and cruel I was, just like our son, to be siding against her instead of defending her and staying home with her when our son banned her from meeting her grandbaby. I went anyways, and she kept arguing about me taking the wrong side instead of defending her. I feel bad for her, but at the same time, I think she was being irrational and made this a competition despite knowing how our son and his wife felt about her behavior. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I might be the asshole for not taking my wife's side as her husband and trying to soothe things between her and our son and his wife so she could see the new baby. And now in the comments, not the asshole. I'd consider a divorce over this, to be perfectly honest. Your wife is being so irrational here. I'm a little worried for her. Is she this way about other things, or is this new behavior for her? You might want to see a medical professional with her, not the asshole. There has been similar posts like this in Am I the Asshole and Just No Mother-in-Law, and I'm so interested to know, because it's never from the husband or father-in-law's perspective. Why on earth do you stay with this woman? Seriously, this can't be an isolated component of her personality, because this behavior is a pattern, and an extreme one at that, so please, I gotta know, why are you remaining married to such a selfish jerk? Not the asshole. Big yikes. Has she always been this way? And OP replies, "She's gotten worse once our daughter-in-law came round. My wife is the overprotective type of mum, if you will, and she's always making a huge deal over every little thing." That's not being overprotective, it's being inappropriately involved in her son's life and being jealous of his wife. She should know that mother and wife aren't the same roles, even though she's acting like they are. Not the asshole. Good for you for siding with your son and daughter-in-law against your wife's brand of crazy. Hopefully this teaches her a lesson, though probably not. And OP says, "I didn't do much. I just let them handle their own issues because they're adults. But still, my wife thinks our son is still too young at the age of 24. Go figure." Might I recommend doing more than that? At what point do you think you'll also be cut off due to her overbearing behavior? I get that they're adults, but your daughter-in-law just gave birth and your son is a new father. The last thing they need is your wife being the psycho she is. They will eventually hold you accountable for your inaction, so do something before that happens. Anyway guys, that's all I have time for today. Do hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. Don't forget to drink some water, and I'll see you in the next one. So have a good day, evening, night, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.